In our previous lectures, we have discussed different things related to research and different criterias, different topics, and all of these things. And today we will be discussing hypotheses and mode of approach, the research design, how to research design, and reference collection. So, uh, basically, what is hypothesis? Any researchers do not carry out work without any aim or expectation. You all know that if you are doing something, there must be a motivation behind that thing. There must be a workout, an aim or expectation behind it. So, in today's session, we will discuss one of the fundamental elements in any scientific research, which is hypothesis. And hypothesis is not just a random guess, it is a reasoned prediction based on existing knowledge. And before starting the actual study, researchers expect certain outcomes. Basically, they have expectations, and when logically stated, they state that expectation that aims logically through hypotheses. And every research problem is undertaken aiming at a certain outcome, and uh, you expect certain outcome from every study, and that expectation is hypothesis. So you can also say that hypotheses are reasonable predictions. And for example, if we want to study that whether smoking increases the risk of hypertension, then we will first formulate a hypothesis. You can formulate different hypotheses in this regard, but simply you can say that if an individual smokes regularly, then their blood pressure is more likely to be high or hypertensive. They are more like to be hypertensive compared to the non-smoker. So all of these things, it is often stated, the hypothesis is often stated in terms of if and then sentences, and in certain logical forms. And hypothesis should provide that what we expect to find in the research problem, the expected or proposed solution based on the available data and tentative explanation constitute the hypothesis. And a well frame hypothesis is often stated or written in different in if and then structure. You have to use that if something is like that, then this might happen. So this logical form will help you in designing the experiments and interpreting in the interpretation of the outcomes. And the hypothesis will provide you a proposed solution, or simply an expected outcome, which will be based on the current data or the assumptions you have done. For example, if you say that you can make a certain hypothesis, you want to check about the academic performance and mental health or sleep cycle. So let's say that if a student sleep less than 5 hours daily, then their academic performance will decline. So this is basically simply simple hypothesis. Now, we will discuss the hypothesizing process. That hypothesizing is done only after survey of relevant literature and the learning the present status of the field of research, and it can be formulated based on previous research and observation. Definitely, previous research and observation provide you an overview to the different aspects of the problem. And to formulate a hypothesis, the researcher should know enough, should acquire enough knowledge in the topic of the research and reasonably deep insight into the problem. So you must have a basic understanding and deep understanding of that particular topic if you want to conduct any type of study in any field. Let's say you want to conduct study in cardiovascular sciences, so you must have a learning of, and you must have understanding of cardiovascular sciences or CVDs, and then you will be able to work properly. And hypothesizing usually doesn't occur in isolation. You can't hypothesize something in isolation, and it usually follows a extensive review of literature, and to make yourself aware that what is already done in the field, and what problems have already been solved in that particular field. And any researcher must gain a solid background. They must have a solid background in of knowledge before framing any hypothesis. Let's say that diabetic foot ulcers, like first we discussed in previous days in your previous lectures, that Let's say you are working on some sort of research topic related to the diabetic foot ulcers. So first of all, you have to study that particular topic and understand the different perspective, like how to control infection, the healing rates, and anything related to the blood capillaries, or anything related to that particular of topic, the diabetic foot ulcers, which may help you to understand that particular topic. So you must have knowledge about that thing, and you must acquire some knowledge about that thing. Then you can relate it, then you can easily work on that topic, and you can easily do something great and contribute to the science community in that particular field. But if you don't know about the details of some certain field and you start researching that field, then you'll face a lot of problem during your working process, during your during your research. So what is the criteria of a good hypothesis? Let's discuss the criteria or characteristics of a good hypothesis. So what make a good hypothesis? First of all, it should be conceptual clarity and theoretical orientation. Should be conceptually clear, and there must be enough theoretical knowledge on that thing, and it must be testable and testable, and if you want to work on that thing though, so it should be testable, that you can easily work on that and test that either this hypothesis is true or false. So it must be testable, and it should be stated in suitable way so that it can be tested by investigation, and hypotheses may become incorrect when the data obtained are analyzed. In this case, it must revised. So basically, it should be falsifiable. Any hypothesis that can be falsifiable is a good hypothesis, because if you work on that hypothesis and the results become the opposite or incorrect, then you must revise the hypothesis. And it is important to state the hypothesis of research problem in a research report. You must write your hypothesis in your thesis or in your article that we hypothesize to work on that particular topic, or work on that particular area of the research. And this was our hypothesis that for example, diabetic foot ulcers grows with any temperature or something else, or nutrition, or can be controlled with nutrition. So there may be different hypotheses. Any type of hypothesis you can relate to that thing, and it should be valid to be experimented through observation, or to be experimented directly. So even if hypotheses turn out to be incorrect, it should still be able to guide meaningful research. Because if let's say there are two drugs, drug A and drug B, and you want to know the effect of drug A and B on some particular disease, let's say diabetes, and the results for the drug A because is incorrect, and you got negative result from the drug A. So this will also help you. You will advise the science community that the drug A using for that particular disease is not working, and that's why this is not advised to work on to give that particular medicine to those patients having this disease. So it must be it must be able to revise, and it is important to state yes, you have to write down the hypothesis in your research. And for example, if we look at good and bad hypotheses, let's say that before discussing the mode of approach, uh, let's say discuss a bad and good hypothesis. If your hypothesis is too short and not discussed properly, then it is bad hypothesis or poor hypothesis. For example, depression is bad. This is simple sentence, three word sentence. Depression is bad, really. We all know that. But a good hypothesis will be that for example, patient with pain have high depression scores on the PHQ-9 scale, which we use normally, compared to the pain-free individual. So the hypothesis must be a good hypothesis. And now we will discuss the mode of approach, that how research is to be carried out. And the mode of approach basically means the overall strategy and discipline with which the researchers carries out the work. And you must plan well, stay on track, and do not get lost in perfectionism basically. If you are conducting research and you want to know that how this research should be carried out, then don't go for the perfectionism. Basically, perfectionism is something that will hurt you, and don't get lost in that thing. If you have little bit of knowledge, you can use that knowledge, and with time you will achieve that perfectionism or that things. And research requires only persistence and focus and care. If you are careful, if you are persistent to work on daily basis, and you are focused, and then this thing will make you a great researcher, and it should keep the researcher on the right track and make him complete planned work successfully. So if you have planned your work, that how you will work on that particular topic. So basically, and the best thing is to avoid the refinement things, and that something done is better than perfect, something that is not done yet. So you should make a clear research proposal and then stick to that plan. You have to make a detailed research proposal, that how this particular research will be done, and then stick to that plan. And there is always room for improvement. You all know that in any human endeavors or research is no exception. So basically, if you give your 110% and conducted a research which you consider is the most best research, or most beautiful, or charming, or attractive research, but there will always be room for improvement. We all know that. And for that purpose, mentor is very necessary, research supervisor is very necessary, someone who know about the research is very necessary. And the feedback that you get during the research, do not take that feedback negatively. Sometimes people think when we give them feedback that these certain things are wrong and you should work on that thing and change that thing, then they take it as a negative thing and get upset. But don't take this thing as a negative. Feedback is always for betterment, and with feedback you can work better, and do each work with maximum care. You have to take care. You have to follow those steps which you have already described in your research proposal, that I will conduct that particular research in that particular way. So you have to stick to that particular research. Always do your work with intention and quality, and always aim for progress, not perfection. Basically, perfection is good thing, but if you just solely focus on the perfection, you will miss the research. So aim for progress. Try to work out daily with little bit work. Try to do a little bit work daily, but do something, and just aim for the progress. And if you go for endless fine tuning, you will never finish the job on time. Yes, we know that you must be pragmatic in your approach and execution, and one must concentrate on area of research and aim to perform better than almost everyone else. So you should focus on yours. You should always compete with your own self, with your yesterday's self. That how much improvement have been come in your life today. So, in order to make steady progress in research and to assess the program of research work, research design is very helpful. And for that purpose, we will be discussing the research design. That what is your research design, and how to design your research work, or how which of the research design will you choose for your study. So Napoleon Hill says that plan your work and work your plan, and that's the main thing. You have first to plan your work and then work on your plan. And research design is the backbone of the study. It creates the foundation of the entire research work. It's basically your action plan, and the design will help you to perform the chosen task easily and in systematic way. And definitely, if one of the research where the research design is completed, the actual work can be easily initiated. And the research will outline you that how you will collect data, what tools you will use, and how you will analyze the result. And then it will be very easy for you to work on that particular plane. And without a research design, your research will be directionless, and you will not be able to work properly on that thing. And it is very necessary that every theory, every technique and information in the topic of researcher is useful for particular problem. That The research information that you are adding in the topic of research, the techniques and the information, the theory is useful for that particular problem, and it will help you to get the answer of that particular problem. And a researcher must identify and select the material which are useful to the present work. So you will work on all of these things, and the validity and utility of information gathered should be tested before using them. You should study properly about some particular technique if you want to imply that particular technique in some research, in some research, and then you must study about that particular problem. Then you must study about that particular technique, that is it valid, or is it is it utilizable, we can utilize it. So these sources must be properly studied and judged before applying them to people, to the problem of interest. So you have to keep track of all these things. You have to identify your aim for the excellence, and you have to follow up each stage with reflection and feedback, and work on all of these things. So these things will make sure that your research design is up to date and accurate, and then you will be able to work on that particular research problem. And a possible approach to be followed by a researcher, let us discuss this validity and relevance in the research design. The Basically, that not every piece of literature or tool that is relevant to your problem. You cannot use each and every tool in your research. So basically, a good researcher filter out the unnecessary data and unnecessary techniques and tools, and focus on only relevant and valid resources. If you will focus on valid and relevant resources and test your tools, work on that tools. For example, if you are working on some study, you want to study the anemia and choose hemoglobin level and dietary intake as your tools, then you don't need the bone density scans or some other x-rays or things like that. So you have to be focused, and you have to be clear about your research, that what type of particular data I want to collect from the patient, and what type of data I do need for that particular problem to be studied. So the possible approach is to be followed by a researcher is, like Mahatma Gandhi said, the satisfaction lies in the effort, not in the attainment. So every great human achievement is preceded by extended period of dedicated and concentrated effort. Like we said, that full effort is full victory, and being a researcher, you must exercise the aspects regularly through your research, and these will keep him right track and rightly bind him to the research activity. So, to succeed, a researcher must develop routines and behaviors that sustain the research process. You will not be able to complete your research work if you worked for one day and then take off for 5 to 6 days. So, you have to do regular discussion with your supervisor and mentors, and you have to do the continuous reading of the journals. You will have discussions with the experts, with the colleagues about your research work, and the problem, the objectives, the difficulties you are facing in execution of that research. And then reading the latest research paper. You have to continuously read the journals and updates, relevant theories, possible application to the present problem, and that's through these things you will be able to overcome the difficulties you will face in research. And you have to review the work reported on the similar problem, and basically you have to do a comparative analysis of similar studies and compare them, that which of the studies more relevant, more helpful for study. And theoretical calculations, numerical calculation, computer programs, preparation of graph tables, and other relevant work related to research should be done by a new researcher by himself without assistance from others. So it's very basic thing that if you work on your own, you will learn that thing. If you use Excel sheet for making graphs and tables, if you use SPSS software for the first time on your own, and you make graphs or analyze the data for once, then you will learn that analysis, and you will be able to do it again and again at any time. So basically, working on your own on any research topic is very important, and you have to aim, the main focus of your work must be that you must learn new things, and that's why these particular internships we are working on right now is for the similar thing, for the similar aim, that we want our fellows or young researchers to learn things by their own, to learn research by their own. So writing and researching is not optional. It will improve writing the research. You have to write up again and again. You have to identify the gaps and progress in writing. And if you write something, you have to show send it to your seniors or mentors and take feedback on that particular thing. So all these things will help you to work on your research topic very well, and you will be able to be a good research to become a good researcher, or to find a find answers to the problems, or to the solutions to the problems. So you have to practice periodically writing and write down the work. Sometimes we think that a particular aspect will be centerpiece of the problem under investigation, but once we make a write up of these aspects or part of it may turn out to be only of marginal importance. So sometimes you may think that this parameters might be the main parameter, but at the end you get to know that this is not like that. So basically the write up and research work are both very important, and it's not optional. You have to identify a gap, you have to work on yourself, you have to work on your research and your writings to become a good researcher. And in fact, writing of the progress of the work will keep you better understand your work and forms a solid basis for further progress. And it's also point out the gaps in your work. So basically, all of these things will help you to become a good researchers. And today, at the last, we will discuss this last section, which is about the reference collection and how to organize your knowledge. And while you start reviewing literature, begin collecting and organizing references early, and this will not only support your argument but also save your time while doing your write-up. If you are searching for some literature, you are searching for some topic or some particular data, and you start collecting collection of articles at the time of reviewing the literature, then you will be able to easily write up your articles, your theses, and anything related to the research, because you will have enough knowledge of that particular topic, and you will have enough data on that particular topic. So uh, basically, the best by keeping records systematically doing research will help you to achieve your various objective, and it also preserves data for future use. So it will save time your and cost, and it will broaden your reach. And details have to be kept in files and enable remote collaboration. So basically, don't just search smart, and focus on the credible peer-reviewed sources, and also make sure that you cite them properly, and you work on the references. So uh, important sources of references collection is a journal called current content, and this comes once in a week and available in a hard copy. Almost all of the universities and research institute buys this document. So there are some journals. Usually now you can get all of these things online on different websites, on the journal websites and portals, and on university portals through different research sites like PubMed, Google Scholar, and all of these databases. These are full of that research articles. So you have to work on that thing and collect references from that particular sources. And you can contain that you have to study all of the research magazine. This was the previous way of usually you can still opt for this way. But nowadays you can easily get any type of studies, any type of articles online. So you can work on that thing like that. You can even visit different sites, which I have given that you can get different research articles and different details you can get from reference. You can collect references from that sources, and from that references you can get articles, and then work on that thing. So there are different sources for this details. You can also assess the status of the chosen topic, and you can even get help from the following websites. You can use these websites to work on your research, work on your studies, and make sure that you are up to date, and you have studied the relevant material. You can also use internet as a source of reference collection and short time for collecting and recording data. It's a very useful thing if nowadays everyone have has laptops and social media and all these things. So you can get any type of information, any type of research journal, either it is a natural research or research related to social sciences, or any type of research. You can get data from research journals, and data unknown to us can be identified and downloaded from that internet sources, and you can visit different websites and corresponding authors by email. And if some article is not available online, is free of cost, then you can also communicate that particular editor or the corresponding author to send you that particular article. Then they can easily send you that thing. So you can get a lot of help from these online and offline details and books and all these websites. So new communities to act as the object of the social scientific inquiry, and in case of research in our survey, the main survey site will be useful for. There are different National Geographic survey sites, so you can use that thing as well. So there are a lot of questionnaires from different area of research, and through this site, survey 2000 dot national geography, from that particular website you can get different questionnaires related to different areas of research, and questions in some are dynamically generated, so you can work on that different types and research articles. And this will today we will conclude our today's lecture at this point. And today we have covered the hypothesis development, the research planning, the design strategies, and the reference management that we will work on all of these things during our research internship. So, if you have any questions or anything that is unclear to you, you can ask questions. And thank you so much for your attention.